Alright, good morning, second hour English 3. Today we're going to talk about finishing your argumentative unit for the semester, and in order to do that I'm going to give you an assignment. The assignment is going to be called You Say You Want a Revolution, and we're going to start off with a picture of Patrick Henry, the orator from the speech in the Virginia Convention that we covered just a few weeks ago. Before we begin, I want to give you some context. I want to remind you that in class we talked about there it goes, the American Revolution, and here we have a picture of George Washington crossing the Delaware. We talked about a number of speakers, such as Thomas Jefferson in the lower left, who wrote the Declaration of Independence. We have Patrick Henry in the middle, the aforementioned speaker from the speech in the Virginia Convention, and Martin Luther King, who was an important figure during the Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s. You'll remember that we read his Strive Towards Freedom essay. The speakers that we just talked about were all older, though, and I want to remind you that we still have change taking place in the world today. Change isn't just something that happened in the past. George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Oprah Winfrey, and Steve Jobs are all individuals who've enacted change in our world today. I'm going to go ahead and move forward. And I want to remind you that change isn't limited to the United States or to the fields of technology or pop culture. We have major changes taking place in other countries. For example, if you look at the lower left, we have the toppled statue of Saddam Hussein. In the lower right, we have celebrations in Egypt. The left refers to the regime change in Iraq just 10 years ago, and the right refers to the revolution in Egypt just 3 years back. Not all changes have to be big, though. A lot of changes are small. You could volunteer to enact change, you could take part in a community cleanup to enact change, you could write letters to your congresspeople to enact change, you could encourage your classmates to write letters to your congresspeople. A lot of small changes can result in big changes over time. Our objective for this final assignment for the unit is going to be to use our persuasive strategies, our voices, and our modern tools to inspire change in the world. So here's what you're going to be doing for me. Number one, you're going to create a list of possible changes that would improve the world we live in some way, and then you're going to choose one. As examples, I've had students suggest doing food drives. I've had students suggest that we add microwaves to the lunchroom so that students who brought their lunches could heat those lunches up. I've had students write about extending the lunch period, changing the school break period, proposing clubs, proposing trips, all kinds of things. You need to come up with something that will enact change in the world around you. It doesn't matter how small or large it is. I'd like it to be a positive change, though. Number two, you're going to use strategies that we've covered in class, and you're going to write a speech persuading others to join in your cause. A few strategies I'd like to see are rhetorical questions. I'd like to see you address an opposing view and counter the opposing view. I need to see a clear thesis statement in your argument, and I need for you to have some sort of call to arms at the end of your presentation. After you've written your speech, you're going to present your speech using your iPad to make an iMovie. It would be nice if you had a friend to help you with this. You can grab your brother, sister, or classmate to help you out. I need you to record yourself in 3 separate places and splice those recordings together for the total of your speech. For example, if you want to give a speech about adding microwaves to the lunchroom, you could begin your speech in the classroom, you could continue your speech in the lunch line, and you could finish your speech in the cafeteria itself. Those 3 locations would be logical for that kind of speech. After you've finished your presentation and spliced it together, you're going to go ahead and drop it in the e-backpack for this class, and I will be presenting your speech to your classmates, and they'll have a rubric so they can give you some feedback. We're going to meet some new Common Core standard writing goals. 11W.1 means that you'll write arguments that support claims. 11W.4 involves producing clear and coherent writing in which the development, organization, and style are appropriate to the task. 11W.6 involves using technology to produce, publish, and update writing products. You're also going to be meeting Common Core speaking standards. 11SL.4 involves presenting information, findings, and supporting evidence, conveying a distinct perspective that'll be your perspective on the issue. 11SL.5 involves making strategic use of digital media in presentation. That should be self-explanatory. And 11SL.6 involves adapting speech to a variety of contexts and tasks and audiences, I'll add, demonstrating command of formal English when appropriate. And of course, formal English would be appropriate for much of these, but if your audience is a certain set of students who use a different kind of English, then you may feel free to vary from the formal English. In conclusion, I ask this rhetorical question myself. Is this assignment relative to your lives? Thanks for your time, and I look forward to seeing your assignments a week from Thursday.